Previously on French Boy Storytime, or how Sarah met a French guy in Paris who she found super cute but had no idea what to do because they met on the street and then he found her on LinkedIn, which is how they got in touch, and should she meet up with him because she doesn't know him and also has never been in this kind of situation before and she's honestly wondering if anyone has. So to recap, I was immersed in taking photos and suddenly I hear a voice and I turn around. I was very confused to hear someone call out to me. I go up to him and I'm like, oh, were you talking to me? He kind of reads the situation, I guess, and is like, okay, she's gonna go, I'm gonna go. And because of that key piece of information, he found me on LinkedIn. So another month went by before we met up, and I didn't know what to expect. I had no idea. I was really nervous, and our plan was to meet where he lived, so where we had met the first time, and to walk around his neighborhood, grab a drink, maybe grab dinner, and which we ended up doing. The whole time I'm kind of just really curious to see how this is gonna turn out because I'm curious about who he is, how he's gonna act. I just have all these questions that I'm waiting to have answered. He brings me to a secret rose garden and just nonchalantly kind of goes, oh, here's this beautiful, majestic rose garden down the street from me. Here it is. All right, we can continue. Like, just sort of like, oh, just enjoy. We walk all the way towards the Seine, and this is where we stop and say, yeah, we should probably get a cocktail, get dinner, because we had walked a lot at this point. So we settle down, we get our drinks, and this is where the big conversation starts, and I'm sharing about my previous life in France, and he's talking about what brought him up to Paris, his trajectory, and the other countries that he's lived in, and it's a really nice conversation. We're sharing a lot about ourselves, and it's going really well, I think. Like, we're kind of joking, it's like a little flirty, not like overtly, but like we're getting more comfortable with each other. The first time we met, I didn't really pay attention so much to who he was. Like, what did he look like? Yeah. I didn't really pay attention. But this time, I was paying attention. And he was pretty cute. And I was attracted to his physique. I don't typically have a type, but I was attracted to his physique, to his charm and charisma. His personality was really kind and sweet. Like, he was just very, very polite and very kind, and I liked his energy, very calm energy. And something that really drew me to him was his ambition. I'm always really attracted to that in a person, like someone who knows what they want, they're going after it, they're really passionate, they have this drive and this momentum pushing them. I was really pulled into that. So we had this big conversation, we've had our cocktails, a small dinner, and we get up and we walk along the Seine. And there's the Eiffel Tower sparkling in the distance. And it's the most romantic evening I've possibly ever experienced. And then he walks me to the metro and says goodbye, and I go home. And I'm kind of like, wait a minute. Like, did all of that happen and then the ending was just saying goodbye? Just verbal goodbye. It essentially what felt like just kind of a handshake, like, nice to have met. So, we didn't do a handshake, but like that kind of feeling of like, all right, that was a nice evening, productive evening. All right, au revoir. I'm sort of in disbelief. I'm in more shock than when I received the LinkedIn message, because I guess, owing to the whole circumstance, I'm kind of expecting something, some flirting, some chemistry, some cuteness, something. But I go home and I have more to process. I wanted to meet with this boy, meet up with him for a second time. We text back and forth a little bit and we make plans to meet up. I'm going to be traveling soon to the Bordeaux region of France, and I want to see him before I leave. We meet up again, we're walking around, we're enjoying the evening. It's beautiful because it's Paris. It's a lovely summer evening, and we go to dinner and we have an amazing conversation. We have just such a deep and interesting conversation, and we really start to get each other. We really start to like share information about each of ourselves that is really quite poignant and kind of getting at the heart of what makes each of us tick and like motivates us. And it was super interesting, and I didn't want the night to end. I couldn't read him. I couldn't read the situation. Like, it wasn't flirty at the end. It wasn't kind of what I was expecting. And maybe it was because I was leaving. Maybe it was because not only was I leaving to Bordeaux, but then soon I would be going back to America. And so we left the restaurant. He walked me to my street, said goodbye, and I went home. And that is how the story ended. That's how the story ends. Until 2 weeks ago, the case reopened, quite unexpectedly, because any guesses? Any guesses how this boy reached out to me from across the ocean? Any guesses? I couldn't have guessed. That's right. I receive a new message from this French boy on LinkedIn. I am not kidding. He reached out to me explaining that he'd been trying to get in touch since the summer. He was really interested in talking to me, and I must have changed my phone number because none of his messages went through. I didn't tell him when I was leaving. I mean, we had kind of stopped talking at this point, and so I didn't make a point of it to share, oh, I'm going back to America, oh, I'm getting a new phone number. I mean, like, why would I do that? Like, it was over. So I came back, my phone number changed, and apparently he was trying to reach me. He was trying to text me on WhatsApp, and it wasn't working. And so at this point, he sent me a message saying, yeah, he realized my phone number must have changed, and he wants to stay in touch, and he really enjoyed all of our conversations and all of our time together. Okay, so that was a very unexpected new ending, or rather, it's open-ended. Because what's gonna happen next? I thought the story was finished. I thought that was the end. Come to realize that in fact the story is still going. This story of my life is still moving forward. No, but for real, I don't know, like, when I go back to Paris, will I reach out to him? Like, maybe, probably. But, I mean, it's kind of funny to think about how, I don't know, things aren't really ever over. Like, there's always kind of these things that can happen and pop up and change in mysterious ways. But I think the real conclusion, the real ending to this story is that I make the endings and the beginnings to my own story, because I'm a solo female traveler. I'm a filmmaker, a videographer, a cute gal, like this American who's interested in France and who goes around and does fun things and meets people, and I'm the narrator, I'm the voice. I get to make my own story, and so it's fun to think about the adventures that I'll take myself on, and maybe this boy will be a part of it, but it's fun to write my own story and to kind of see where it's going. And so this is a pretty fun little sub-chapter. Okay, I'm gonna say it. I do hope we meet up again. I hope that we get to chat, get to meet up, get to see each other in Paris, the most beautiful city ever. and the most beautiful city to meet someone in. So I said it. I hope we see each other again. I hope it goes really well. I hope we hit it off and get married and have French babies. Okay, actually, not that last part. I really do hope that something comes. But if nothing does, it's okay. But if something does, you know, I'm fine with it too. No, yeah, so we'll see. I would say that that's the end to the story, but as we've just discussed, there is no real end. So with that, I will just end the video, and I bid you adieu until next time, until my next story time. Adieu, au revoir, bisous.